What? 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 That intro music gets me every single time. Boy, I tell you. I mean, my land of okay. Hi y'all. Is it hi y'all or hey y'all? Get it together, Dominic. What we doing? Let's not act like okay. All right. I just talked to myself real quick. Good evening, y'all good? I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. Gosh, I love y'all so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of 1 Billion Brain. We in there like somewhere. We in there like somewhere. Y'all know that I have my VA energy, so I'm at a 12 right now. Bear with me. But y'all know that though. Like y'all know how we get down. All right, so welcome to another episode of 1 Billion Brave. I'm your host, Domo Jones. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for commenting. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us, sister. Like, I appreciate it. I don't take it lightly, and I'm gonna say it every single doggone episode. You're welcome. All right, so let's get into the house rules. 1, no profanity. We don't do that on this show. Come on, man. It's too many words in the dictionary that we gonna use, and we about to use them joints on here. Next up, no bashing of race, religion, gender, or politics. Now, if you know, then you know that on this show, we don't do that. You know that we family on this show. You kinfolk, we cousins, aunties, y'all all invited to the barbecue. Tell them that I said it and tell them that I sent you. And that's it. As soon as the weather let up, because why is it still raining? Good night, nurse. Like, we get it. It's about to be super bright and colorful in the spring and summer. That's what I do know. All right. So also, house rules. We do talk about Jesus Christ on this show. He is the main thing. So we're gonna keep him the main thing. I don't care what anybody else say on this here show. That's my dog. And he about to be number 1. All right. And also, this show is about the disabled community. This show brings awareness, light. Hey, grandma, I love you. Information, all that jazz to the community, to the world, bringing awareness and showing people how people with disabilities break the stigma beyond their condition. I'm telling y'all this, and I tell y'all every episode. Hear me clear. Get you one of us in your circle. All I'm saying is, get you one of us. Don't get me in your circle, but get you one of us in your circle. Why? Because we are some dope individuals. The disabled community, we're super dope. And you need one of us. We got perks that come with us. All I'm saying, get you one of us in your circle. All right. Last but not least, I need y'all to hear me very clearly. Hear me with your good ear. Like, hear me with your real good ear. Okay? This show is the very first talk show that has a hostess with a disability that interviews guests with disabilities, medical conditions, and essential caregivers. Lady O and Tyler Perry, I'm coming to the house. I'm coming to the house. So all I'm asking is for, I mean, you should already know by now, but all I'm asking is for some fruit snacks and an Arizona green tea. That's it. And we don't need no introduction. We don't need an intro because I'm introducing myself now. So when we meet and when we talk, we could just go straight for the gusto, like business. That's what I'm saying. So we'll leave the light on for you at a core hotel. So just leave the light on for me when I go to Lady O's house, and then I'm hop on across the street to Tyler Perry's because we got to chat. I mean, you can even wear your pajamas because I'm gonna wear my onesie, and then we straight. We gonna sit on the couch in the kitchen at the kitchen table. It don't even matter. You choose. But we need to talk. That's what I'm saying. All right, so that's the house rules. Let's get into the what? Braveheart. What's Braveheart for this week? Listen, Amara Art Spots, we appreciate you. She has vitiligo. And the dope thing about her is she uses her disability to her advantage, and she creates art on her body. That I told you we dope at Amara Art Spots. I need to break up for this week, and you're super dope, bro. You're super dope. We appreciate you. Keep rocking. Keep doing what you're doing. All right, so we typically do the I'm sick of it, but we're about to switch it up tonight, and we're gonna do what's called the more you know, because I got something to say. You feel me? I got something to talk about. All right, so let's get into it. I had a conversation with a friend. I don't think it's a friend. We're not gonna say friend because this conversation is not what a friend does. Associate. Yeah, I like that. I had a friend with an acquaintance. I like that even better. Yeah. I had a friend with an acquaintance, and he inquired about my show, asking questions about my show. Cool. A lot of people do it. That ain't nothing. So he specifically asked me what my show is about and who are my guests. And I told him, like, my show is about the disabled community, blah blah blah, that whole spiel, and I only interview guests that have disabilities and medical conditions or essential caregivers. He chuckled. What? You you chuckling? My boy, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't laugh. What we kikiing about? Huh? And I was like, I said, are we chuckling? Like, are we laughing? And he was like, I mean, I like that's the only people that you interview. That's a lot, and that's enough. Let's start there. Because every episode that I've done for the past 3-4 years have been juicy and have been very, very inquiring and entertaining. That's all I'm saying. So I want to say this. Just even because of the episode last week that I had, and I was able to talk to Arrow, and he just put something in my mind that just changed my perspective on how grateful he was, because he was never able to share his story, and this was literally the very first time and the very first platform and um the very first even offer to share his story, and he was just so grateful about it. So for those that feel the need, that aren't interested in this show and what I do, it's okay. It's not for you. I know when I started this show, it's not for everybody, and I get it. Just like I don't understand why people love horror movies. Why do you like being afraid and being scared? But I don't knock it, because that's your niche. Like, that's what you like. So if this show is not for you, it's okay, but it's for somebody. And when you find your purpose, it don't matter what people say. It don't matter what people agree or disagree on, because that's why God didn't give this to you. That's all I'm saying. Because you have to have a passion and a purpose for a show like this, because the niche and the platform and the audience is not for everyone, and everybody not gonna get it, and it's okay. But somebody is, and that somebody is all the guests that I've been interviewed. Check the receipts, bruh. Hi, Mom Sonia, love you. Check the receipts. So I want to say that because I deal with a disability, and this show is about people with disabilities, I firsthand understand, and I get it, and I'm coming from a place of experience, not just a place of just wanting to do it because of the fun of it. No, 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 no. So this is literally not only my passion, this is my purpose. And this ain't your purpose, and it's okay. You ain't got to watch it. But what I will say is this: when I get my show on TV, and when I get my own network, don't be DMing me talking about, hey, big head. Don't be DMing me talking about, hey, big head. Go on, extra stage left. What? This the right. Go on, extra stage right and left. Go on about your business. As Gil said, go on about your business. Go on about your. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about that. Don't do that, because you got the wrong one on the right day. All right. And for those that tune in, for those that watch, I appreciate you guys. I do because I understand that this show is not for everybody. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for even inquiring and want to know like what the show is about. You on, y'all are real ones. Marla, I love you. I love I love you. All right, so that's my spiel. That's all I gotta say about that. We're gonna keep rocking. If I got one viewer, I don't care because my guests love it and that's all that matters. You feel me? All right. So speaking of my next guest, I'm so appreciative that my guy tuned in and he wanted to be on the show. And he was actually referred to one of my previous guests. What am I talking about? That's it right there. He was referred to by one of my previous guests. So we just gonna keep it rocking. I met him 10 minutes before the show. Y'all know how I get down. So we about to be friends for life. Nathan, come on, my boy. Hey.
Hey, Domo, thanks for having me here.
Oh yeah, you're definitely welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. Gracing the stage. Like, thank you for gracing the stage.
Hey, absolutely. I was having a good time back there listening to you.
Thank you. I told I told you I'm a little goofy. I ain't all the way there.
Hey, we're here to have a good time and help people and have some fun.
Exactly. Let's get it. All right. So for the people in the back, please tell us where you're from and the name of your medical condition.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan Gutierrez. I have spina bifida. I'm 39 years old, almost 40 here in a couple of months. I live in the Central Valley in California. And yeah, so spina bifida is a congenital birth defect. And the statistic is one in every approximately 1,400 births around the world are affected by spina bifida. And I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of what it is. So it's not a birth defect that almost 40 years ago was detected ahead of time. Due to medical technology advances, it is detectable now through some certain tests, amniocentesis tests, and things like that. But back then, they didn't know until I was born. Doctors didn't know. My parents didn't know. So basically, I was born and I came out crying as a normal baby does. However, I wasn't kicking. And my
Oh,
arms were moving, but my legs weren't. So the doctors immediately turned me on my stomach, and they saw about a little bit bigger than a quarter-sized hole in my spine. And what that is it was damage to the nerves in that area, and the damage is at the L1 level, the lumbar one level of the spine, and spina bifida can be anywhere along the spine. However, mine is at that level specifically, and so that affected the use of my legs. So I was immediately rushed to surgery, and they had to patch up my back. And based upon that damage in that area, it really determined how I was going to be affected in my legs. So
oh,
I'm a severe case of spina bifida, and I'm in a wheelchair. However, there are people walking around in the world right now, and maybe one of your viewers, or maybe a couple of your viewers, have spina bifida who are walking, and so they just have a different form of it or a mild form of it. So in my
wow.
case, it's considered severe.
That's amazing. I know about spina bifida, but I didn't know that some cases have like holes, and I didn't know that there's levels. I definitely didn't know that there's levels. So for you, like, what was that? Because you had it so long, and have you always been in a wheelchair?
I have, yes, yeah.
Okay. So growing up, like, what did that look like? Just like doing the regular activities, going to school. Did you have any challenges at all?
Oh, absolutely. So let me start off by saying I went to the Head Start program in preschool. And then in kindergarten, first grade, I was in special education. And well, first grade, I was like half day special education and in mainstream the second half of the day. And then it wasn't until second grade when I was fully mainstream into regular education. It was a little nerve wracking at first because I'd never been with other non disabled kids. However,
Right.
I made friends pretty quick. And one of the things I think that made the biggest difference was that the first week of school, my mom came in, brought our two little miniature schnauzers we had at the time, introduced the class to me, introduced the dogs, and we talked about my disability in very simple terms. so that the other students could understand. And again, we're all 6, 7 years old at the time.
Right.
And we basically explained what spina bifida is in very basic terms. And we explained that my wheelchair is part of my body and that the other kids shouldn't touch it unless I gave them permission.
Mhm.
And from that point forward, I really made a lot of friends in grade school. I was just another kid out there. I wasn't the kid in the wheelchair. I was Nathan.
Right.
And I would go out on the playground and we'd play basketball. And, I couldn't shoot on the big hoop very well. I didn't have the physical arm strength, but
Mhm.
they really allowed me to be part of everything, whether it was in the classroom or out on the playground. And so, in fact, I still have a lot of those friends today,
Oh, that's
10 years later. Yeah.
that's dope. I love that. That's super dope. Did you learn in well, first of all, do you have a name for your walker? I mean for your wheelchair.
I don't.
What? I
I
asked
know, I
honest.
know. At least this one I don't. I've had this chair for about a year, so um,
Okay.
it's a
Next time
it's
I talk to you, you gotta have a name.
well, we'll have to figure it out. Maybe we'll have to take some time to figure that out. But it is a Thai light, so if anybody has any, maybe I can just call it Thai. I don't know. Uh, that's
That's
actually that's actually my sister's name, so I don't know if that would quite work, but I love this chair. It's my favorite chair that I've had so far.
so is your chair like custom made for your body?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always had chairs that I've had to go through a wheelchair vendor, and they've had to measure me, make sure things are properly fitted, and that's important for overall health and mobility.
Right, right. So because you've always been in a wheelchair, are chairs different regarding as far as like the wheels, as far as like the maintenance of it? Because I know you had to go through different stages of chairs.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So this one, and I know you can't see, but it has a low back on it. It's kind of a sporty looking chair.
Mhm.
It's not specifically made for a sport, but it is more sleek and designed for that reason, or for mobility purpose reasons, I guess.
Right.
And so it's a titanium frame. And so it's a little bit lighter, not significantly lighter, but a little bit lighter. And the reason why I got that is because it needs to be a little easier on my shoulders because I do drive, and so I need to be able to take the chair apart, pull it across me, put it in my back seat, and that can really take a toll on the shoulders if it's too heavy. The wheels are also very lightweight, and those are actually an upgrade. But I chose to have those for the same reason. I didn't want anything too heavy, too cumbersome, and then it's a very smooth, very nice ride.
I think the dope thing is that you drive. Like, can we let's talk about that because a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, some people have a fear of driving, or even being a capable of driving because they may have a disability or um, they may not be able to like feel their feet or whatever. So for you, when it came down to the option of driving or not driving, or if you wanted to learn, was that hard for you, or would you like, man, I'm driving, I don't care.
Well, I wanted to drive like any other typical teenager at 15, 16 years old. However, I didn't get that opportunity until I was about 19. So I was already out of high school at that point. I took the bus at that point, or my mom dropped me off, that kind of thing. So when I was 19, made the decision that hey, it's time for me to drive, to learn how to drive. So it wasn't a matter of me being able to go down to the DMV, take a test, and boom, I have my license or permanent license. I had to go through a Department of Rehabilitation. They had to help find an instructor for adaptive driving, and I went about a week and a half. It was actually during my Christmas vacation.
Mhm.
I was in college at the time, and I believe it or not, Domo, I had almost every kind of weather you can experience that week when I learned how to drive. And the driving instructor had a 1980, I believe, Mercedes. So it was like one of those old fashioned diesel
Yeah.
Mercedes. But I had everything. We had wind, rain, hail. We even had snow. And where I live, we don't get snow, but maybe 1 or 2 days a year every 10 or 15 years. And that week, that's what happened. So I had some pretty good experience that week, and
Right.
uh, and that's how I was able to learn how to drive. But it sounds like it was a very quick, short process, but it really wasn't. I had to, when dealing with Department of Rehab, they had to send me to a rehab hospital to get checked out physically. make sure that I was mentally prepared for it. Because
Hmm.
driving is a very risky thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and we've all been on the road. There are some crazy drivers out there. So wanted to make sure that we had to take extra precautions for me to make sure that I would be safe, not only for myself, but for other drivers on the road.
Right, right. So is your car created different for you to drive?
No, it's not created different. It's just a regular car. I have a four-door car, and so what I was able to get were just some basic hand controls. I have a gas brake combination. It's a
Hmm.
little bar. It's underneath the turn signal, and so you push down for gas. You push in towards the dashboard for brake, and then on the steering wheel, I have a little spinner knob. And if you've ever seen a tractor out on a farm, they have that little knob. Well, that's
Hmm.
what it is, and that helps you turn with one hand. And so that's all I really have. And it was
Good.
great because it was very minimal in terms of cost. So just for any of you watching, for that kind of hand control system, and again, I'm giving approximates here, it was only about $1,500 because I was able to buy my car brand new. Of course, I made payments and stuff. But because I got the car brand new, I was able to get that money, the $1,500 reimbursed by the dealership. So that there's a cool incentive out there. If you're out there who need hand controls and you buy a brand new car, you can actually get that reimbursed up to a certain amount. And I think it's $1,500 to $2,000 in
Oh,
reimbursement.
that's good to know. That's really good to know.
Yeah,
For those out there that um are inquiring about getting accessibility with driving and all that. That oh wait, there's your boy. There's your boy right here. That's dope. So when people see that you're driving, do you get like the questions, the raised eyebrows, like you know how to drive?
no, not really. I don't.
Good.
I get people who stare sometimes, not as much as they used to, I think, as I'm getting older, but when I'm getting in or out of my car, and I think sometimes people hesitate whether they want to come over and ask if I need help or not. And it's usually an older person who comes over and asks if I need help. And believe me, I always appreciate it.
Yeah,
And then other people walk by and they don't say anything. And, it doesn't really bother me because I don't need help. And I've always been the type of person that if I need help and you walk by, I'll ask you.
exactly. Exactly. We a lot of I want a lot of people to understand that although we do have disabilities and some limitations, that doesn't necessarily mean that we always need help because we live with this body. So we know what works for us, we know what doesn't work for us. And trust me when I say we know how to ask if we need help. We do. We are not mute. We know how to ask. So if we don't ask, we got it.
Absolutely.
We
It reminds me when pre-pandemic, when I go to the grocery store, I wasn't the type of person that would get one bag or two bags and carry it out to my car. I'd get four or five bags and I'd carry it out to my car, and the bagger would always be a little hesitant because they could see that I'm carrying four or five bags, and they were heavy sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll be honest, in my younger years, I let the pride get the best of me, and pride's not good, but I would let it get the best of me, and I would do everything I could, even if it was a struggle, to push myself out to my car and get the bags in myself.
Hmm.
And there was one time where the bag started slipping, and I ended up dropping some stuff. Luckily, it wasn't in the street; it was just on the sidewalk before the street.
Hmm.
And at that point, I realized, it's okay to ask for help from time to time. So
It is.
it took me a number of years to realize that, again, because I wanted people to see that, hey, I'm independent. I don't need help. I don't want to seem helpless. But it really is okay. If you need help, we all do. We all need help from time to time. And if you need help, don't be afraid to ask.
And that's so true. And it took me a minute to learn that too because I'm independent and sometimes I could be over independent and a lot of people just genuinely want to help. Like there is no intent because you can't do it. Some people just genuinely like I just want to help you out. And I had to realize that it's not coming from a place of you're not independent. It's coming from a place of I'm just trying to help and it's okay to ask. And so yeah, I had to learn. I definitely had to learn that too. So growing up, you have siblings, right?
I do. I have a younger sister. Yeah, she's 3 years
Okay,
younger.
3 years younger. So how was that life like in the house with you being in a wheelchair, and she's able bodied.
She is.
So how was that life like regarding, I don't want to say you guys relationship, but just in the house, like was she protective of you? How was that life like?
Well, as I like to joke with her, it was great for about the first 3 years of her life because, and there's a 3 year difference between us.
Uh-huh.
It was great for the first 3 years because we lived in a two-story house fairly early on in my life and her life, and our rooms were upstairs. Everybody's room was upstairs, of course. And so my parents made me climb the stairs, and that
Oh,
wasn't the easiest thing for me to do. And trust me, it felt like a punishment every night.
okay.
Every night. And so I'd always guilt my sister, who was really young at the time, and say, "Hey, I can't do it. Would you run upstairs and get me a toy or whatever I needed?" And she would. She would. And in one day, she figured it out on her own that, hey, mom and dad aren't running up the stairs to get Nathan whatever he asked for. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it either. And so we laugh about it now, but I tell her, that was the day the relationship changed.
That was
And so, growing up, I think that it was fairly normal, I guess you could say, like it was with any other siblings.
yeah.
And we fought a lot, and there was always love and I think mutual respect on certain level, but we fought a lot, and there were certain things that I needed because of my situation. So I think there were definitely some differences
Hmm.
when you compare that to how other people were raised in a shall we say a non-disabled household.
Right.
And so I had physical therapy, I had different doctor's appointments and such. And so when she was an infant, she would often have to be woken up by my mom
Mm,
and go with us to physical therapy because she couldn't be left home alone. And so that took a toll, and then as she got older she still had to accompany us,
yeah.
and so that was hard on her. And I don't think I understood or really appreciated that for a long time. And so
Hmm.
that we had many discussions, and sometimes those discussions turned into arguments over
Right.
the years because I didn't have that full understanding of what she had to go through.
Yeah.
And then in turn, she didn't understand what I was going through as well. And then also I had to understand what my parents were seeing and what they were experiencing, while at the same time they were trying to understand what I was going through.
Hmm.
So really, the whole family dynamic is and was affected by my disability, and it was nobody's fault. It's just that's how it was and
Right.
is.
Right. That is good. That's a good conversation to have, especially when you're young and you have a disability. We don't know. We're just trying to make it, like literally. And there's so many intricate parts to play in a world that you live in a world that's disabled, but you have siblings or parents that don't have disabilities, and the sacrifices that you both have to make but don't understand it at that time. I think that is a great conversation that you had later on, just to give perspectives on what this is. What I didn't sign up to have a disability. Like, this is not something that I wanted to do, and this is not something that I wanted you to deal with either.
Right? No, none of us signed up for it, but we have to do the best we can. And there were a lot of hard lessons I had to learn early on, and my sister certainly did too. For instance, we'd be out somewhere and let's say the park or something, and she wanted to run off and go on the playground and go down the slide and the monkey bars and all that. Well, I
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
Right.
And so looking back, I'd get angry about it because I'd say, well, how is that fair that she's able to do it, but I'm not? That,
Hmm.
if I can't do it, she shouldn't do it either.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
looking back, and my parents taught me, that's not fair for you to say that or think that way,
Hmm.
because your disability, yes, it does limit you, but you're not allowed to let that limit other people.
Right.
And so it took me a long time to really not just hear that, but to understand it.
Hmm.
And so it was tough. It really was tough because I saw the freedom that she had, from a very young age, and even through elementary school, junior high, high school. I mean, she was going out with friends and partying, and not to say that I couldn't go do some of those things, but it was more challenging for me to,
Right.
because
Right.
she could just jump in a car, with a friend of hers. I couldn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
things
That,
like that.
yeah. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, there's more steps with us, and there's more thinking. We got to process things like, okay, if I go here, then what do I have to do? What do I see? Is it accessible? I mean, I get it. Yeah, and with someone that's able bodied, they can just, it don't matter. They can skip over a step. We can't.
Right.
We
And
ain't just
we've been doing it for so long. I don't think that we are consciously aware that we even do it anymore.
right.
Just because it's part of
It's
what
part of
we do. It's part of our process.
it's
Like you said, I know that when I go out to a restaurant or something, and whether I'm just by myself or I'm with family or friends or whatever, okay, where's the exit? Where's the bathroom? How do I get there? How do I get out of there? What if there's a fire? How can I get out?
yes.
But at the same time, I don't want to sit by the front door because
Right.
I shouldn't have to just sit by the front door. I mean, if you guys, are watching and you may not have a disability or don't live with somebody with disability, you might think, wow, this is a lot, but it's something we have to do.
It is
And
literally
I
something.
think that, a lot of my family gets it, really for the most part, my immediate family anyway. My friends are pretty good about it, but sometimes they may forget that I have to pre-plan a lot of things. And so sometimes they'll call me or they'll say, "Hey, let's go grab lunch or let's go out, this place." Okay, well, is there parking? Is there, and I have to go through this whole list. And then I feel bad because then I see that they're making the effort, but,
Right.
you know, and there have been times, I'll be honest, that I think that has dissuaded them from asking me again because they just want to jump in the car and go. And while I would love to do that, I don't really have that luxury.
Exact. That is the truest statement ever. Like, we think about nine different things when you're asking us one question. How close is the spot? How far is the parking? How many spots is disabled parking? I mean, there's so many things that we can, even the temperature. Is it cold in there? Is it hot in there? Like, I mean, it's just so many different things that we have to think about when it comes to you just asking us to just, you want to go. I want to go. Nevertheless, the real question is, can I afford to go? Because after, when you get home, you'll be good. We not. We gonna have some repercussions.
That's right.
For real,
No,
for
I understand. It could be a long day, it could be a short day. When I get home, I'm tired. I had a long day, not just mentally, but physically. And then it's, hey, you want to go out and do that? No, not really.
that is so true. Hey, Drew, love you. That is so true. And for me personally, because my disability requires my well, not requires my well, it does require my disability requires me to rest. I have muscle weakness, nerve damage, so I have to rest. My body shuts down periodically, and when I get asked to like go to places, and I appreciate the thought, like I appreciate, because you don't have to think about asking me, because that I do have some limitations. I appreciate it. Nevertheless, I'm just like, my body is shutting down. I just can't. Like, I want to, and I don't want to be like that party pooper type to where I'm in pain or I'm hurting, but I'm still pushing myself to go because I don't want to just say no. And because you don't understand, when I say my body's tired, you could just take a nap. I'm not sleepy. My body's tired.
Yeah.
There's a difference that a lot of people don't understand with body being tired and sleepy, fatigue and just sleepy. That it's a whole different ball game.
Well, and like you said, I think sometimes in order to maintain that friendship, we make those sacrifices, and I don't think that they know or they may not appreciate those sacrifices that we do make because again, while they may take an hour nap or a couple hour nap, that might put you or me down for a day or two sometimes, just depending on what it is. And so it's tough because you have to really balance. Okay, I said no the last two or three times. I guess I'll say yes this time because I don't want them to think that I don't want to go with them. It's a struggle.
You're talking. You're talking. Nathan, you're talking, because that is the realest statement ever. Rest is not an option. Thank you, Mom Sonia. It is.
It is.
It's required. That is a part of waking up and brushing my teeth. Resting is a part of brushing my teeth and putting on lotion. It has to be in rotation. Has to be in daily rotation. Nathan, you didn't we I'm going to what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little segment and I'm gonna post it because that was the realest statement that you ever said. That was
I'm telling you, until you're in that position, and I don't wish it upon anybody, but until you're in that position, it's really hard to describe
yes.
because we're fighting that battle between taking care of ourselves physically, but then also wanting to be included in plans with our family, our friends, and so it's a sacrifice either on our part
Yeah,
physically and mentally, emotionally, that kind of thing too,
very true.
or it's a sacrifice upon the relationship or the friendship.
Right. And you don't want to be deemed as being lazy and being like that person that just don't like to do nothing and don't like to be nowhere. And that's not it. And sometimes, well, I'll just say this. For me, sometimes I can get in my head to people thinking that I'm lazy because I need to rest. And their mentality of resting is just taking a nap or just laying down. But our mentality is different. Our resting looks a little different. And sometimes I can get in my head sometimes to where I don't want to be deemed as lazy. And it may not even be their mindset, but because rest is such a crucial aspect in my life and I need it, it could be looked at as, dang, you always laying down. Dang, you always tired. Dang, you always gotta rest. Like you only did one thing today. Why you need? And I was like, that one thing took me out, bro.
Yeah, and I think that the toughest part while we're talking about it is, hey, you want to go out Saturday? I'd love to. I can't tell you how I'm going to feel Saturday morning, and there have been times, and I'm sure you've been through this too. You have every intention of going.
Yeah.
Saturday morning rolls around, and your body and your mind are saying, this isn't happening today.
It's a hard no for me.
And then you have to make that ugly phone call or
Yeah.
text and say, hey there, I can't go. And then they have a decision to make if they're going to handle it well or if they're going to get upset.
Oh my
And
God.
I've had both.
That is so true. Oh my gosh. Nathan, you don't even understand. You don't even understand because you get it. Like you get it. You understand. Like you get it so well. And I appreciate it because I don't know how to. I mean, people hear me all the time. They hear me all the time. They know my voice. But to hear from somebody else that understands what I'm, you a real one.
It
You
is true. And I don't want to harp on the negative, Nomo. I really don't. But that is reality. That's our reality.
That's our reality. No, for real.
And we love and we appreciate all of you who are in our lives, who get it, who understand. And we understand that our situations are frustrating. And we do. And I think I'm speaking for both of us here when I say that. And we don't intend to do those things to you. We have every good intention of being there with you to participate in whatever you invited us to do,
Yeah,
and we'll be there if we can. But
right.
there are simply times when that just won't happen.
That's so true. And the keyword is if we can, and it has nothing to do with um us not wanting to go. It's literally can we afford to go?
Yeah.
That's literally it. Can we afford to go? Because we're looking at our mindset is looking at the future, meaning if we go, what are the steps that's going to require us to get better? Like, are we going to have to deal with X, Y, and Z if we go? And how long is that going to last? We don't know. How, there's so many things that we have to think of. And then going and then preparing to go. We can't just get up and get dressed and just head on out. There's so many different processes of going. And I do want to say this on the flip side, I do appreciate the friends and the people and the family that may not understand, but they're um they're very warming in the sense of If I can't go, they'll be like, well, let's just go to the house and chill. Like, I appreciate those people that may not understand I need to rest. They may not understand, like, okay, why? But if I do need to rest, or if I say I need to rest, they'll just be with me just because. They don't mind canceling plans. They don't mind rescheduling. I do appreciate those people too.
Right. No, I'm totally with you on that. And honestly, let's just say it, there aren't that many of those people.
There's not. It's very few and in between.
Yeah.
It's very few and in between. And I'm grateful for me, I'm grateful that I do have the circle of friends and family um that do understand. I appreciate it because it, and just as bad as it irritates y'all that we can't go, it irritates us to the max.
Yeah, absolutely. We have every intention of going. We want to go. Sometimes it's even the highlight of our week. We have doctor's appointments, or we have work, or we have other obligations that we don't want to do, but we have to do. And
Yeah,
then, hey, to hang out on a Saturday,
right.
we've been looking forward to that all week. And if something crashes our plans Saturday morning, it's a big disappointment for us too.
Yeah, so true, so true. I Nathan, I don't think you understand. Like, I appreciate this conversation because it's good to talk about it with someone that understands, but it's also good for those that may not understand, get a different perspective on our mindset when we do say we can't go, when we do say our body's tired. There's a reason. We're not just saying no just because, just to make you irritated. We're saying no because there's literally a legitimate reason behind it, and there's so many steps that comes with us going or not going. Because on both ends, there's steps with us going, and there's steps with us not going, because us not going was a reason. Us going can cause reasons. That was good.
Now, what about, perks of going with us? We have good parking.
We got
We
bought
we get good seating in places,
all the time.
and I'll tell you, oftentimes they don't ask questions when we go into a place when we look like we know where we're going.
That is the truth. That's why I said at the beginning of the show, get you one of us in your circle because we come with favor. There are so many times where I go to concerts with friends and we may have tickets to sit at the top, but because I do have a disability and I do have a medical accessory, which is my walker, they will sit me in the front, and whoever is with me gonna sit with me. That's it. That's all. You're gonna sit with me. You're gonna park where I park. You're gonna rock where I rock. And there's been a few other times where, because I can't stand for a long time, I get in early, and whoever with me get in early too. Come on, man.
It's not all bad.
It's not bad. Just wait till we get our energy. Just wait till we get our energy. We got you for life.
That's it.
Man, I definitely appreciate that, for real, for real. So can we get into what you do? Like, I know you have stuff going on. Let us know.
Yeah, so I think you see my name underneath here. So my business is called Real Life Coaching, and I took that because it sounded like real life. So kind of a play on words there. Again, so I am in a wheelchair. And so what I really want to do is I really want to help people with spina bifida, my disability, physical disabilities, and spinal cord injuries, help them become more independent. And so what that looks like is, if you're in school, what do you do after you graduate? What does
Right.
that look like when you go to college or trade school, or whatever kind of training you're going to get into? What does it look like when you go get a job? How do you do that? How do you interview? What kind of accommodations do you ask for? When you move out on your own, what kind of things can you ask for in a house or an apartment, accommodations wise? If you get your driver's license, how do you go about that process? All kinds of things. And a lot of these things, and I'm sure Domo, in your case, it's been very similar. We've had to do a lot of trial and error work. There really hasn't been a formula or a manual out there that has really taught us how to do these things.
Hmm.
Go here, but don't go there. Say this, but don't say that. talk to this person, but not to that person.
Right.
There's not a one size fits all. I'm not saying that there is, but I feel that with my almost 40 years of life experience, that if I can help people by putting a program together that is customizable to the individual, I think I can help them cut through a lot of the time and the processes and trying to figure things out to help them achieve what they want to do. So that's really what my coaching business is all about.
That's
Uh,
dope.
on top of that, I'm also a professional speaker. So I am looking for speaking opportunities. If there are any organizations watching who would be interested in having me come talk to your team. And so really, I tell my story. I also relate it to business principles, overcoming adversity, how you can leverage adversity into something awesome. Because I have had, like we were talking about, there are a lot of pros to having disabilities too. Again, you get the better seat, but also in business, when they're dealing with challenges, hey, you and I are the experts when it comes to dealing with challenges. So if I can come in and talk to the organization about how do we overcome whatever this barrier is. Now, I may not have ever been through a layoff process in a business, but I can help you figure out how to communicate that with your team because it is a difficult situation. My
Right.
life, your life, other people's lives with disabilities, it's all about figuring out how to overcome these challenges and these negative mindsets sometimes.
Yeah.
And, again, being honest, sometimes my mind goes there. I'm sure yours does too. I mean, it's challenging. I'm not always the most upbeat person. I do get down.
Mhm.
But as I'm getting older, I've learned that I need to limit those times so I can get back out there and try it again. And that's just part of life.
Right.
We all have challenges, even if you don't have a physical disability or a disability that may not be as visible, something like that. But it's all about how you're going to handle the situation. So those are the kinds of things that I talk about as well. So I've got the life coaching business, and then I've got the professional speaking business as well.
That's super dope. Gabe, can you put his information on where to find him? Because I think that's super dope, and I think that's very much so needed. For there we go. I think that's very much so needed for our community as well as people that are able-bodied too, because you don't. Although you mainly target us, people that are able-bodied can definitely benefit from
Oh, yeah.
what you do, and I think that's super dope. Y'all connect with Nathan. www.willlifecoaching.com and at willlife_coach on IG.
And
That's it.
it's two L's in real life and two L's in real life
Two L,
on both.
two L's in Will Life.
That's it.
That's it. That's all. Y'all know what to do. Holla at him. Nathan, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I definitely appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. You my guy.
Absolutely. Domo, this has been fun. I've had a ton of fun.
I told you. I told you it was gonna rock out. I told you it was gonna rock out. Gabe is going to put you in the back. I'm in the show, and then we gonna be in there.
All right. Thanks
Thank you
again for having me.
for sure. I appreciate it. I think Gabe. Let's see. Did Gabe put you? Okay, there we go. Thank y'all so much for tuning. I told y'all. I told y'all. I told y'all. I told y'all. Listen, we on the up and up. We're on the up and up around here. Thank you guys for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. For those that we about to do it, y'all know we about to do church announcements real quick. For those that want to be a guest on the show, holla at me. Here's the thing. You gotta have a disability or a medical condition or an essential caregiver. Not your elbow been hurting for the past 2 weeks. Uh-uh. Get somebody else to do it. This show is for people that deal with medical conditions that have disabilities or essential caregivers. That's it. Holla at me. Y'all know where to contact me. Y'all know. Also, other church announcement. Next Tuesday, we are live and in living color. Y'all don't want to miss next Tuesday because my friend gonna be on, and it's my girl. Okay, j- j- just tune in next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. We live and in living color. Don't log off, okay? Because the house rule. I mean, the sponsor's about to come on. I love y'all. You already know what to do. Love on people. Okay, I love y'all, so y'all love on somebody else. All right, Gabe, you want to get me out of here? Love y'all.